99.3 Nigeria Info.
Well, the nation's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria. It's 7 minutes past the hour this morning. Today is Monday, so it's Treasure Hunt Day. So I'm going to announce the treasure that you need to go and hunt for those who are hunters out there. First, you need to get our mobile app for you to be able to do this, okay? Now, today is the Super Falcons semi-final matchup at the current Women's Africa Cup of Nations. What you need to go and look for is for you to click on the picture of the Super Falcons. Look for the picture of the Super Falcons. Click on it. Whatever pops up, fill in your details, then submit. Be the first and the fastest to do this, and you could win 5,000 naira. The picture of the Super Falcons. Best of luck to you. So today we're discussing the Osun elections. If you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, you're welcome. Thank you for joining us. If you'd like to watch online, Facebook is Nigeria Info 99.3. YouTube is Nigeria Info 99.3 as well. Would like to hear your thought. So the people of Osun have been commended for their resilience and commitment to a non-violent election. Let me repeat that, to a non-violent election. As INEC yesterday morning declared Senator Ademola Adeleke, the governorship candidate of the PDP, winner of the just concluded gubernatorial election in the state. The returning officer, Professor Oluwatoyin Ogundipe, the Vice Chancellor, University of Lagos, announced the result at the INEC office in Osogbo, the state capital. The results showed that Adeleke, a former senator and younger brother to the state's first governor, Isiaka Adeleke, defeated Oyetola, polling 403,371 votes, while Governor Gboyega Oyetola polled 375,027 votes from 30 LGAs. Let me also say that to break it down, Adeleke of the PDP won 17 of the 30 LGAs in the state, APC won 13. PDP won in Ede South, Ifelodun, Ede North, Boluwaduro, Egbedore, Odotin, Oshogbo, Ila, Takumosa West, Olorunda, Ilesha West, Obokun, Oriade, Orolu, Ife North, Irepodun, and Ejigbo. The APC won Borikpe, Ilesha East, Ayedire, Ifedayo, Ife Central, Ayedade, Iwo, Olaoluwa, Isokon, Atakumosa East, Ife South, Ife Central, and Ife East. That's where the APC won their votes. On BVAS, which is a major determinant, INEC has been commended for an effective deployment of that machine. Because according to CSOs and election observers in general, they have said that was very critical to the results that were witnessed. Now, according to data released after the poll, percentage turnout by registered voters was 42.37%, while percentage turnout by permanent voter cards collected was 54.48%. Which is remarkable. Now, despite the huge success recorded by INEC in deploying BVAS to reduce electoral malpractices, technology failed in a few polling units. Let me break this down for you. In polling unit 007, Olode Ward, Ifelodun Local Council, Ikirun, the voting exercise did not start until 11:45 in the morning when the machine was changed by INEC. The original BVAS deployed to the unit failed, and all efforts by INEC technicians to fix it failed as well. It had to be changed, and the change came around 11:45. Besides that, the average time election started in most of the polling units was about 9:30. Some even started as early as 8:30 in some of the local councils. I have the head of news, Cool FM, Wazobia FM, Nigeria Info FM. Joining me right now in the studio, Ufuoma Egbamuno. He's live here in the studio. Ufuoma, morning to you.
Hi, Sheriff. Good morning. It's great to be here again.
It's good
you always find a way to drag me here.
Because you are in charge of news.
I don't understand.
That's why you're
Sheriff
here. What did you just say?
I'm trying to speak my Osun dialect.
You failed woefully. Okay, welcome, man.
Thank you.
Let's start with what worked and what didn't work. What worked for PDP? What didn't work for APC?
As simple as that question is, I would think that the answers are quite are not so straightforward, to be honest. Let's start with the PDP. The PDP and the candidate. Let's also be honest with ourselves. It's a combination of both factors. It's a combination of. I heard a couple of callers who said if Adeleke actually contested on a smaller any party
platform,
that he would have won. Maybe yes, maybe, but the chances when you contest in a party that has spread across the length and breadth every part of the state, it gives you more chances, because again, elections, I would always say, are not just one on paper. Apart from you, the candidate, you also need people, foot soldiers, to work for you. You need people in every local government. You need people in wards, to preach your gospel. You need people to be able to stand up for you. You saw the pictures or the videos of a particular polling unit where elections had concluded. The INEC officials said they had issues with their internet. They could not transmit the results, and people stood in front of the car and said, you are going nowhere until you transmit this result. So you need that spread, and sadly only the two big political parties, so to speak, the APC and the PDP, have this national spread across. In fact, up until 2014, 2015, it was only the PDP that had it, and that's why I usually say this. They kept boasting that they would rule for the next 60 years because they knew they had that. But coming back to your question, I think the honest truth was that the flag bearer was popular, even though he joined active politics in 2017. He comes from a history of a family that have been in active politics. I think his father was a senator or something, sometime in the 70s. His elder brother, who died, was a governor of the state, and then senator. So it's a family entrenched in politics and who know what needs to be done. So he's got that popularity. He's got a party, and then you could also argue that some people are still vexed from 4 years ago. If you believe word on the street, Adeleke actually won the election in 2018 before some allegations of abracadabra happened, and then there was a rerun, and then of course the omissionary factor came into play. So some people are still having those grievances from 4 years ago that you could argue played into his hands. And then again, you could talk about the internal wranglings in the APC itself, where the predecessor of Oyetola, has not been in quote unquote talking terms, or in they've not been in great tandem, so to speak. That some persons who ideally should have worked for the APC, we heard, either defected to the PDP or stayed in the APC and worked against the APC. So I think all of this, contributed to. Let's not also forget that for some persons too, they are tired of the ruling party. That could also be a factor. Right,
indeed. If you're just joining us, you're welcome to the conversation. I'm going to have you in to join us. So you can share your thought as well as to our conversation this morning. Now that we have looked at what may have worked and what may not have worked in favor or against these actors, let's talk about the issue of vote buying. It was still a big issue.
It will still be a big issue, Sheriff. And the reason, in fact, it's going to get worse. Here's why it's going to get worse. We've been able to, get one part right, which is employing technology and being able to use it effectively. Kudos to INEC. In fact, I remember some months ago when I appeared on the Morning Crossfire, I was raving about the 2022 Electoral Act, and I said it is one of the best things to happen to Nigerian elections, because I followed through the process when civil society groups and National Assembly were debating stuff from the Electoral Act, and I saw a few things there that would help in ensuring that our elections will get better. Now, one of the ways politicians used to change results before, is you go to the polling unit, you vote, they count the votes, you celebrate that you've won, or your party has won, or your candidate has won, and then when they get to the collation center, they change allegedly the figures, and then what you voted something else, and then the results come out, you are seeing something else. So that used to be the norm. But with the new electoral act, it means that elections will be transmitted electronically.
That's right.
So you vote in your polling unit, 70 people have been accredited, 70 people voted, your party got 50, the other party got 20. The person in charge of the elections in your polling unit sends that data straight up to the server. Right. What now happens is you cannot, if you make the mistake, or if you make the mistake of trying to change it, it doesn't tally with what has already been sent. Right. So all those issues of snatching ballot boxes, if you snatch ballot box from now till tomorrow, you're on your own, because anything you thumbprint will not work. Right. If you steal the beaver's machine, you are still on your own, because it's been programmed in such a way that it can't be tampered with or used elsewhere. Right. So that has solved to a large, or that will solve. I would say that has solved, because we've seen it. Yes, the Anambra election was a bit chaotic because as at then, the INEC officials probably had not understood how to deploy the technology, so it was a bit chaotic. But we saw a great improvement in the Ekiti election, and we're seeing it again over the weekend in Osun. It means that to a large extent, all of those issues of rigging at coalition centers have been reduced to the barest minimum. Right. So obviously politicians will devise new means of how to get. So now that they've realized that, maybe, just maybe, we'll not be able to do what we used to do before, which is steal ballot boxes, rig elections, in go to different houses and thumbprint wherever. Right. Now that they can't do that, they know that votes count. They know that it's people's votes that will count at the end of the day. They also know that a lot of Nigerians live below the poverty line, so they can induce
with money.
Right. We had talks yesterday or the day before yesterday about monies as much as 10,000 naira per voter in some polling units. In fact, some allegations even suggested that he went as much as 20,000 naira per person, just to influence people's votes. Some persons collected the monies allegedly and still voted their choices.
I was going to ask you that. Like, how do we stop money politics? Like, is it in the hands of the authorities or in the hands of the electorate? Like you have said, that some collected the money and still voted. I mean, I saw the video of some ladies saying that, want to work or something like that. Like, they collected the money, but they still voted their own choice of the candidate that they wanted to vote for. Yeah. Now, is that the way to go to stop money politics, or the authorities need to do so? Because it's looking like, if you ask the politicians, they will tell you collect their money and vote your conscience. It's almost like we are defeated. Like, we can't solve that problem.
Unfortunately, Sheriff, I don't think you can stop it. The arrests were made. It was in the news this morning. Arrests were made. Yes. But that's like an insignificant number compared to. And let's also be clear here. This vote buying was allegedly done by the two dominant parties. So it's not even a question of, the ruling party did it and the opposition did not do it. No, that's not true. There were allegations that both parties actually, carried out this. Right. Which is why, it is also another quote-unquote structure that you also hear these big parties mention, because they've got the wealth. The politicians have got the money to be able to do this. But Sheriff, there's
shouldn't we criminalize it though? Because it's
criminal already. It's criminal. It's criminal already.
Yes, it is.
Both you, the receiver, and the giver. It's actually criminal. But again, it comes back to the Nigerian problem, which has to do with systems. Our systems, our institutions are very, very weak. Believe it or not, the 3 persons supposedly arrested, well, the news might just end there. After a while, they get the bail. They get bail, and that's about it. Nothing really happens. So if we have, sadly, we always promote the individuals. We always promote supermans or superwomen's, ahead of institution. I'll just take a bit of a detour. In the United States of America, President Trump came into the saddle, I think in 2016. He was, to some extent, he was a good president, but to another extent too, he was quite terrible. He wanted to change things that ideally he didn't have the powers to do. Well, the system fought him, and that's why 4 years later, irrespective of some of the good things he's done, that tendency to want to go into some form of fascism or dictatorial tendencies, the system fought him, and that's why the Americans have a new president. Biden, if he's not doing well in 2024, the system will find a way and get him out. I think that's where Nigeria should be aiming at, where systems would work. But sadly, as it is right now, there's absolutely nothing. Because these politicians, they have the money, Sheriff. They do have the money. They know people are poor. As myself and Wrangling, just before we started, I was talking about how very rich I actually am, As a day like this, so money plenty for my that's me, a supposed middle working class person. Imagine the man in the village who doesn't have work, who maybe is farming and cattle have destroyed his crops, so there's really nothing for him to feed the family, and you offer the person 20,000 naira. I'm sorry, we can postulate all we want, but it's going to be difficult for
somebody like
people like that to actually reject these monies.
Indeed, it will be. Let's take some reactions very quickly now. We'll take some. Then we'll go out, take a break, then come back and hear more from you. 0700 993 993 993 and 01465 7190. Let's see if we can speak to this individual for like 45 seconds. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Sherry.
Yes, please. Morning to you.
This is Pastor Ladipo.
Welcome, Pastor Ladipo. Welcome.
Precisely. Now, my take is this. We have conquered one section. I think we need more advocacy on this area of vote buying, more sensitization. I think that is what we need. Thank you and God bless Nigeria.
Thank you too for calling me. Appreciate it. I really do. All right. Now, let's quickly take this break. Then when we return, we'll talk some more. Stay here on Nigeria Info 99.3. I mean, I love the way he was very brief about it. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those. Those that need to be fired are fired. It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that. I'm not.
Give me my share of the 3K now.
I love my food. Go get your device at the nearest Samsung authorized store and benefit from the price drop promo. Valid between the 4th and the 31st of July, 2022. Hurry now while stock lasts.
Every picking love Bobo. Healthy, correct drink Bobo. Every time, everywhere Bobo. Bobo, our choice. For them grown-ups, choose better sweet yoga. Yummy creamy yoga. Probiotics healthy yoga.
Bobo na that fine better picking drink. We get plenty vitamins and minerals to make our pickings and they sharp. bright, fine and healthy. It get different flavors and they available for shops nationwide. Yogo yogurt, now that's sweet, fine, better, yummy, tasty, creamy yogurt where they make specially for you with plenty vitamins and minerals plus ogbonge probiotics for your good health. It get different flavors and they available everywhere nationwide. Them be product of Bobo Foods and Beverages.
Any channel where you want, we get them. Oh yeah, watch. Maybe you want to watch news, we get them. Oh yeah, watch. I been a series we define, we get them. Oh yeah, watch. I been a sport or documentary. Oh yeah, watch, no disappointing. Nollywood to Bollywood. Oh yeah, watch, go put you in the mood. Watch your favorite series on your phone or your TV. Oh yeah, watch. All of my people make una watch. Oh yeah, watch. All of my people make una watch. Oh yeah, watch.
Never miss a program with our 24-hour catch-up. Oya Watch. Watch on any device, anywhere, anytime, and anyhow. Download the Oya Watch app on all app stores to start watching all your favorite channels for just 1,000 naira per month. Subscribe now and enjoy 1 month free.
This is not the typical bank ad where we only talk about zero balance and high interest rates. Picture this. Exclusive discounts at select stores. With the Keystone Pink card, this picture becomes a reality. That's not all. Picture a beautiful resort with its breathtaking Instagram-worthy scenery. The cool, gentle breeze on your face. The champagne bubbling in your glass as the sun illuminates your skin. With the new PTA BTA Visa card, living this dream is easier. Visit any Keystone branch nearest to you or download the Key mobile app to get a Pink card, MasterCard, Visa card, or Verve card. At Keystone Bank, there's a card for everyone, no matter where you are. Keystone Bank. We grow together.
There is something every woman gets when they become mothers. She knows when her family is in pain, and she knows better than to allow red moments linger. With fast-acting and effective M&B paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant tasting pineapple flavor syrup for children. She sends aches and pains far away from her family. Mothers who know trust May and Baker for its over 70 years of quality experience. Give aches and pain the red card with M&B paracetamol. If symptoms persist after 2 days, please consult your doctor. M&B paracetamol. Pain can't stop you.
You are listening to your number one station for talk.
Your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
The nation's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. It's 8:29, going on half past the hour in a matter of 3 seconds. But before we get back to the conversation on Osun election, during the newspapers headlines, we're talking about voter registration and everything. So Wemimo has supplied me some information that you need to know about that. Because when she walked in, I had to quickly, ask her to help me do some digging. And she's done it. So what you need to do now, if you're wondering where you can register, is try and follow INEC Lagos on their social media platforms. All the information you need, you'll get them on their social media platform. Instagram is at INEC Lagos. Twitter is at INEC Lagos. Facebook is INEC Lagos HQ. Yeah, that's Facebook. If you go on these platforms, you see your area and the registration point for your area. You will see, and as a matter of fact, when we're having that conversation this morning, INEC also called us to give us these information as well. So I want to say thanks to INEC Lagos for hearing the plight of the people and responding very swiftly as well. Thank you to you guys for responding. We really, really appreciate the fact that we make calls here on Nigeria Info and we get swift response from the authorities. So again, INEC said that you can go to their social media platforms. Instagram is INEC Lagos, Twitter is INEC Lagos, Facebook is INEC Lagos HQ. That's where you get all the information that you need. You can also visit INEC's official website to get the schedule of the rotation for the registration. I have the schedule here, but trust me, I can't go into it. It will be a detour from what we're talking about this morning. So please take action now that you have that information. Okay, it's been extended by 2 weeks. I think we are into the first week now. I think so. Is it? Are we up? Is first week up? The registration is ending July 31.
July 31, yeah,
31,
30, I'm not sure again.
Okay.
But end of the month.
End of the month. All right. So you've got that time. You got that grace to go and get yourself registered. All right. Okay. Now let's get back to our conversation on Osun election. Ufuoma Egbamuno is head of news, Nigeria Info. I'm not going to mention the other station.
Let's stretch and man, catch you.
All right, Ufuoma, thank you again for taking time out to
thank
join
you
me
for
this
having
morning.
me and not allowing me eat my breakfast.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's all good.
Let's talk about the internal wrangling of the APC as possibly one of the major factors that led to their downfall in Osun State.
Yes, it is. You cannot argue that to a large extent, from the get-go, Regbeshola did not want Oyetola, who was his chief of staff, to become, his successor. That's 4 years ago. But somehow the APC national leader, who reportedly, is a cousin to the governor, actually, quote unquote, foisted the governor on the party. There were some cracks back then, but somehow they found ways to resolve the issues, and they ended up winning the elections 4 years ago. But fast forward 4 years after, the crisis had deepened. And of course, Aregbesola actually had his own candidate, unfortunately for him, his candidate lost the primaries. That's and of course, the governor won that primaries. But somehow they were not able to resolve the aftermath of that crisis. It even, showcased in the build up to the presidential primaries of the APC. But when you don't put your house in order, that's exactly what's going to happen. There are reports of certain aides or certain followers of the minister, who defected to the PDP. Some did not actually defect; they stayed in the party. But you could argue some reports suggested they served as spies. And
they worked against the party.
They worked against the party. They voted and worked against the party. So maybe let's just, for example, say I'm one of those aides. I'll vote against the party and then also tell people that are close to me who I can influence to actually vote against the party. And in elections like state elections, every vote count. Look at the difference. The difference is about 28,000 or thereabout. Majorly, also because there were some local governments where the APC had won 4 years ago, but they lost them spectacularly this time around. Osogbo, a very good example. The state capital, I also saw reports, where some persons, in fact, there was an APC politician who actually put up on social media that for all of his years voting, he had never lost his ward, his polling unit, but he lost his polling unit, in the election.
For 24 years.
Exactly. So all of these changes, even areas where the margins were not so much, where they ran neck and neck, you will still see, the APC winning with maybe 1,000 plus votes or 2,000 votes. Areas where the vote margin was quite high the last time around. So all in all, yes. And then again, you saw videos of the Minister of Interior, Aregbesola, the person we're talking about, the former governor, who was not even present, in the state during elections. He
wasn't in the country.
He wasn't even in the country. I think it was somewhere in the US. At the end of the day, if he was around, his presence to a large extent would have contributed if he had worked for.
He wanted to pass a message.
Obviously. And the message is loud and clear. Remember that in the early hours of yesterday, he posted on his 2 verified handles, some biblical verse which looked like he was mocking the APC. And then hours later, it was deleted. And, we were told that it was posted in error, or that it was an aide, who still had access to the post, that posted it. Personally, this is me speaking, Ufuoma Egbamuno, I don't believe that. I just think that was
do you
what's
think,
it called, damage control.
Do you think this could backfire
for
Aregbesola?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I don't think so. These politicians always find ways to survive. They find ways to make up, and sort themselves out. While you and I are busy fighting over each other on social media, they are in closed-door meetings at 2 a.m. in the morning, solving their issues. Some have also suggested that this could be a warning signal to the APC's presidential flag bearer, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I don't totally agree. In fact, as early as 6 a.m. yesterday, I posted out on social media. The honest truth is that a lot of the persons who voted for the PDP and Adeleke in Saturday's election will turn around in February 2023 and vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Why?
Because to a large extent, like I've argued several times, next year's elections will be determined by a lot of ethnic sentiments, by a lot of tribal sentiments, by also by it will also be what's it called now, a referendum on the party in power, and then also about what's it called again, the individuals involved.
So we're going to stay there because it's part of our areas of coverage this morning about what Anambra, Ekiti, and Osun elections would mean for 2023 elections. Let's take the last election, Osun, as a case study. It appeared, and you have alluded to it, that perhaps people voted the personality, the person of Adeleke and the family or something, as against the popular APC, PDP rivalry and the rest of them. It appears as though people had accepted him, way in 2018, way back as far as 2018, before even now. So they followed him through. To 20.
More like, let's reclaim our mandate.
Yeah. 2020. Don't you think that's the pattern the 2023 election would go, where people would vote persons, not party?
People have been voting persons, not party. Here's the honest truth, Sheriff. It's going to be a combination of all factors. It's not going to be just one.
Okay.
Some people will vote personalities. So let's say in the presidential election, for example, next year, you could argue 4 leading candidates. Some people will vote. Some persons are telling you point blank that I'm a PDP member, I'm an APC member, but you see the presidential election, I'm voting Peter Obi. That's for people who will vote based on persons. Some people will vote based on, I don't want another northerner. Tribal sentiments. I don't want another northerner. We've gotten 7 years. By February next year, it will be almost 8 years of a northern president. Let power come to the south. There are some persons who will vote on that. Some people tell you that even in the south, I don't want a Yoruba man. Some people tell you that, even in the south, I don't want an Igbo man. Those are sentiments, that would affect the election. Even in the north, we've talked about the whole of last week, last 2 weeks, the conversations have been around Muslim candidate, religion and all of that. If you think it's not important. For 1,001 people in Nigeria, religious bias is very important. There's been this accusation or this allegation in the last 7.5 years that the president has tacitly supported a particular faith. You heard some of the callers this morning. I've been listening to the show since 5 a.m.
Right.
Some have suggested, when the news of the bandit, some called and told you that, see how the army have been dealing with issues in the southeast when it comes to IPOB.
Right.
But the army did not do anything when it was even in the news that
they were going to have
that turbaning out there in Zamfara. Some persons look at that from a religious angle, and they say, you know what, maybe this is happening because we have someone who is tacitly supporting these guys, and because of that we don't want another Fulani, or we don't want another Muslim as president.
Right.
So all of these religious tribal sentiments will come into play. It depends on wherever you are on the divide. Now, coming back to the Osun election, the reason I said that some persons, or a lot of persons, in fact, I actually put a percentage to it on my Twitter handle, which generated a lot of controversy. By the way, that's how I put a percentage to a question to Sunday 6 years ago, and it caused a huge problem. But back to my point, a lot of the persons in Osun State who voted Adeleke and PDP over the weekend will choose tribal and ethnic sentiments when it comes to February's election. They will tell you point. In fact, there are videos, out there on social media where persons in Osun State told you, you know what, this governor is Adeleke and PDP are voting, but next year is Tinubu that we know, and they will do those votes based on the fact that they believe our local.
Once it's the presidency, it shifts from party lines.
Exactly. Some persons will do that based on party lines. Some people vote based on party lines. Some people here. Let me even give you an example. Here in Lagos, if you go to the Alaba International, Festac, Agboju, Okoko, Ojo axis.
There
are a lot of Southerners over there who are from the Igbo-speaking part of the country. They usually influence elections in those areas. That's why you would sometimes have an Igbo-speaking person winning a federal election in Lagos. And you ask yourself, how did that happen? It's simple. Ethnic and tribal sentiments. And that's why you've also noticed one of the ways the ruling party in Lagos State usually employs is to find ways to allegedly disrupt elections in those areas, because they know that people in those areas usually do not vote for the ruling party. That's talking about the APC or whatever colorations they had before. So the tactics they usually employ is to allegedly disrupt elections there, because they don't want because they know that people over there will not vote for them. Now, you're not going to blame these persons. They have their reasons, why they've chosen those areas.
Right.
Sheriff, all of these sentiments will come into play. The most likely northern Christians, a large percentage of northern Christians, I believe, in February next year will not vote for the APC because they don't want a Muslim ticket. They will most likely not also vote for the PDP because they don't want another northerner or Fulani. Those persons, I think, would most likely vote a Peter Obi because they will feel more comfortable with his candidacy as opposed to the APC because of the Muslim ticket and the PDP because of tribe. You're not going to kill these people.
So not one factor can determine the voting pattern.
Not one. It's a combination of different factors. You have your biases. I have mine. I have my sentiments. You can't rule away all of these conditions.
Indeed. We're going to go to the telephone, take a few calls, hear from you before we get back to our conversation. Ufuoma, I'd like to quickly speak to you about BVAS and the future of elections. If we continue this trajectory, I'm talking about INEC now, this trajectory, much later on. But let's take some calls in first. Good morning to you. Morning.
Hello,
Okay, this person is really not ready. Let me talk to another person. Nigeria Info, good morning to you. Morning.
Good morning, Sheriff.
Yes, please.
My name is Abiodun.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you to your guest. He is doing justice to the issue on ground. But I think one major factor that played out, just like you rightly said, is the conflict in APC. If Aregbesola had teamed up with the present governor, I'm sure that PDP wouldn't have had a chance. Then secondly, I think INEC has stepped up their game. We should encourage them. With what we are seeing, if these improvements we have seen goes into the general election, you know, to give us a lot of credibility. So kudos to INEC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Biodun.
Sheriff, just to touch up on that,
Yeah.
INEC has done a brilliant job. You mentioned at the early part of the show, you know, where you said if it was wrong now, we would all be criticizing INEC, but it's good now. We're not saying.
No, I mean,
not many people.
It is true.
Exactly.
Most people are not even talking
I totally
about
agree with you. We have to start from the very beginning, which is the late president Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Remember the election that brought him into power in 2007 was flawed,
and he acknowledged it.
And he acknowledged it and said, "You know what? I'm going to make reforms." He started that reform. Sadly, he died. Goodluck Jonathan continued from where he stopped, you know, and that's why we had some measure of progress. You could also accuse the present president of sort of delaying it a bit, you know, because these Electoral Act possibly should have been signed before the 2019 elections, you know, but for whatever reasons, I know the reason it wasn't signed, but I don't have facts to back it up, so I wouldn't, you know, put that out on air. But, you know, for whatever reason, it wasn't signed back in 2018, and then, you know, we've had it now. So it's a culmination of processes started from 2007, 2011 under Jonathan, you know, and of course, kudos to the present president for, you know, because if he had not signed it, I'm not sure the National Assembly would have the wherewithal to actually override his assent. But he did, and he's consistently said that he wants to leave a legacy of credible elections. See, if Buhari, I have a whole lot to criticize the president for, and I've been doing that, even though I supported him in 2015. But if there's one thing I believe the president has done, which is great, which he should get commendation for, is to ensure that there's credible elections. See, he had a candidate for the APC primaries. Allegedly, he did not want Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He even said it a few days to the primaries that give me the chance to announce my successor. Somehow, a few persons in the party fought against it, and the man just said, "You know what? Okay, all of you go ahead and do what you want to do." And that's what produced, if the president had put his foot on the ground, you know, the way an Obasanjo did, for example, you know, there's a likelihood Bola Ahmed Tinubu would not have been the APC candidate. But he let everybody have their way. Remember, he said in his statement, "I allow you guys to choose your successor. I don't influence it." And that's exactly what he wants to do in 2023. Something tells me he's not even going to campaign for anybody. If you want to win, you have to go to the field and work and prove that you are electable. And I think that's really commendable.
Indeed. Let's see if Moluwani Shala is still on the line. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for holding the line.
Thank you. My contribution is on the how we can stop vote buying. You know, in Osun, EFCC arrested some people.
That's right.
Same this one, and police arrested too. We must ask police and EFCC to bring out those people they were arrested. We must call on them now to take them up, so that we can have we can stop this. You remember the vote buying has been in long in 1999 election. The politician will give the king about money. The high people, they will give them money. That collapsed Savannah Bank. Same thing in 2003. The vote buying changed to the INEC official. They gave them money to read for them. Now it's turned to the people. That is why they are buying. The INEC official cannot read for them. They are buying people.
Thank you.
They are taking it. If we fail to stop this, it's going to affect us. It's going to affect the economy. That is why when they get inside,
they try to get their money back.
If the vehicle license you are getting before, you have to get another one so that you can pay money. It's affecting us. We must stop it.
Thank you, ma. Thank you for calling me. Appreciate it. But before we get on, Feta is here, and Feta has some information for us very quickly. Feta, hi, good morning to you.
Good morning. I have very great news, like he said, and I'm here to tell you that if you keep asking the right questions, you definitely get answers. So you see that question you're always asking about, why do I have to pay fees for local transfers? Why spend money to send money? Why do I have to pay full price for airtime when I can get it at a discounted rate? I'm here to tell you that Cheaper has the answer for that question. As a matter of fact, if you buy an item, you can even get a whopping 5% cashback on that same item when you shop with your Cheaper card locally and across borders. Now, Cheaper is spelled CHIPPER. And yes, it's an app, very available on App Store and Play Store. So go ahead and download Cheaper and even enjoy no fees on local transfers. In fact, you even get 2% discount on airtime and 5% cashback when you shop with your Cheaper Naira or USD card.
Thank you, Feta, for that information. Let me continue very quickly now. Do you have any other thing to tell us? That's all. That's everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
You want her to give you money?
Why is it? Why must it be about money?
Feta has money.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, I'm telling you.
Talking about who has money, your name is Ofuoma Bang. You're the one that has 5,000 naira. From us this morning, you've won yourself the treasure hunt on the morning crossfire. Congratulations to you. You got 5K for yourself. Ufuoma, let's talk. Finally, what would you say is a takeaway from the off-cycle elections? Or what are the takeaways of the off-cycle elections?
The fact that votes now count and that rigging has been reduced to the barest minimum, at least at coalition centers. You honestly, again, I want to emphasize this: the fact that the opposition won in the in Osun State is not, the reason we will now say votes count. The opposition did not have the power in Ekiti State to win because the PDP were split. Remember, one of their party members and former governor Shegun Oni left the party to join the SDP.
That's right.
That's what paralyzed the PDP over there.
That's right.
APC won the election fair and square in Ekiti. It also meant votes count, irrespective of allegations of vote buying too over there. I just wanted to, make that clear. But for me, the great news is that at least from the Ekiti and Osun elections, people have now realized that if you vote 10 persons, it's 10 persons that will count. The only way the politicians now have, is to induce voters by buying. But that would inspire confidence in a lot of persons. It means a lot of persons from yesterday or from today would want to go to the INEC centers if they don't have PVCs to go and get their PVCs. It means more people will get into performing their civic right, because it's actually a right, for you to go out and vote. Now, what this also would translate is that the politicians will know that if they don't do well, they will get kicked out.
Ufuoma, well said. Thank you so much for coming on the Crossfire today. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
We'll take this short break. When we return, I would announce again the voter registration information that INEC has passed across to us this morning. Stay here on Nigeria Info's Morning Crossfire. I'll be right back.
This is not the typical bank ad where we only talk about zero balance and high interest rates. Picture this. Exclusive discounts at select stores. With the Keystone Pink card, this picture becomes a reality. That's not all. Picture a beautiful resort with its breathtaking Instagram-worthy scenery. The cool, gentle breeze on your face. The champagne bubbling in your glass as the sun illuminates your skin. With the new PTA BTA Visa card, living this dream is easier. Visit any Keystone branch nearest to you or download the Key mobile app to get a Pink card, MasterCard, Visa card, or Verve card. At Keystone Bank, there's a card for everyone, no matter where you are. Keystone Bank, we grow together.
Relax, recharge, and take a break this summer. Find the best summer holiday deals to Dubai, London, Cairo, Florida, and many other amazing cities on wakanow.com. We've got you covered. Book now on wakanow.com or visit any of our travel centers near you. Take a break. Pick a city. Wakanow. Let's go.
Guys, Share the good news.
I was at a Samsung shop today to get my A23, but something amazing happened. I paid for the phone and I got some change.
That's not possible.
There's a promo going on. Samsung has an amazing deal for everyone this month. You get up to 3,000 Naira discount on A23, A13, and A03 core.
Give me my share of the 3K now.
I love my food. Go get your device at the nearest Samsung authorized store and benefit from the price drop promo. Valid between the 4th and the 31st of July, 2022. Hurry now while stock lasts.
Hey, Alpha now. You start your day like this. Everything is going well until the unexpected happens. Then, hey, the bass boss begin.
Why would you hit me?
If you get our Flexi Comprehensive Motor Insurance,
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria